Hi guys, and welcome to the third video in the Oceana build series. Yeah, this video is all about the body, so let's get it going. Yeah, and welcome to me, voiceover guy. Yeah, first step, of course, after having glued the two pieces together is cutting out the body. And cutting it as close as possible to the line is a good thing. Before using a template and a router to get the final shape. Here I just go over some of the spots where it's not as close as I wanted to the line with the spindle sander. Great tool. Really want to go, yeah, half a millimeter, I would say, thereabouts, from the line, and in that way you can prevent some tear out and stuff like that when routing. Here I've just taken out some of the material inside the electronics cavity, and with a Forstner bit, and here I am just taking the rest out with the router. I don't have a lip on the top because I will because the cover is gonna sit on top of the back of the body, so I won't be routing any space for the actual cover. And here we go with the top. Basically same procedure as with the body. And what I haven't showed you here is that I have already, used the router and a template on the body, so the body is where it's supposed to be. And here I am unclamping after having glued on the top and a middle piece of black dyed veneer. So sort of a little sandwich. And here, after having gone with the top a little bit on the spindle sander and removed some of the material, I routed flush to the body using a bottom bearing bit. Basically using the body as a template. Yeah, and here I am routing in a bevel, an arm bevel. This is a 45-degree router bit with a bottom bearing bit. This is because the body is very thin, so I've chosen to do that as an arm bevel instead of shaping it with hand tools. And this is the belly cut. I'm using a Shinto round rasp file, and this is not a Shinto, Iwasaki file, and this is the Shinto rasp, one of my favorite tools. And just doing fine details with a smaller Iwasaki file, a round one too. Also an incredible tool. Just getting it to where I want to, making it ready for final sanding. Here I am just taking out some of the material with Forstner bits for the neck pocket. I have my template already in the right place. And it's held on with a screw and with some clamps. Just taking it down to the final depth, taking out the material. And here I've removed the template and I'm using the top of the body as a template now, and the initial cuts I made, they become the template when you remove the template, and the router rests on the top of the body. I'm just making a little bit of a facet. It's a comfort carve, you can call it. It can help a little bit with playability when you want to reach the high register. But also, it's an aesthetic choice, I think. I think it looks cool. And I also do it on the back. You'll see that in just a minute now. And the same procedure. I think it's more of a looks thing for me than an actual improvement of playability. This is actually more a comfort car for me. This is a place where my thumb rests when I use this kind of thickness of the body. Haven't seen anyone do it before, but it's a good place to make a comfort cover, and it looks cool too, I think. And here is the reef on top of the body. I made the template, and I'm just routing out all of the material, making sure I don't go too low and go through the back of the body. The most bottom part of the route is done with a round bit, and to simulate sort of like sand and wavy sand structure on the bottom. You can see that now. It's done with a round bit with the bearing, and just clean up the burn marks with some sandpaper and get it nice and neat and ready for some what's it called? Sealing. But that's later. And here I go with the pickup cavities. Same procedures as all the other cavities. Hog out material with Forstner bit, and then use templates and bearing bits. Just taking the depth. I go about 20 millimeters down. And here I am. I think this is the third coat of shellac to seal the wood to prevent bubbles from occurring when I put in the epoxy. Yeah. And this was a fun bit for me. This is carving the actual shark figures. I've never done that before, making a figure like this, and it's quite fun. And it was doable. Just using a knife and some sandpaper and a Dremel tool. You can see the shark, almost a finished shark down the bottom. rather therapeutic actually to make these small figures. And here I've stained them black and put in some rocks. This is actually before the first pour. There's a plateau, and on that plateau the decal goes. Yeah. Also, the figures have been sealed with 3 coats of shellac. So here I am putting the decal into a little container of lukewarm water until the glue dissolves, and I can just slide it off. Make sure to make the plateau or the surface underneath wet before you do it, so it's possible to slide it around and get it into the right place. I had sealed the sharks before with the shellac. I actually gave them 3 layers of shellac, and also the bottom of the cavity, so the wood was completely sealed with shellac. Because I wanted to get rid of a lot of the bubble problems before I poured the resin. But what happened was even more bubbles appeared than in my little test piece. And what I think happened was the amount of bubbles created a lot of thin layers, maybe a lot of thin areas. So the epoxy hardened much quicker than it would normally, which resulted in, at some point not being able to get rid of the bubbles because the epoxy was too hard. And I had an epic fail with my burner also, so I couldn't remove the bubbles anyway. So yeah, I bought a new burner, a better quality one, with a bigger flame. This is after the first pour. I choose to pour twice to easily control the bubbles, and from the first time, these cavities were complete. They were completely covered in shellac. Before I removed the shellac, when I could see the bubble problem was not solvable. So yeah, and this is the second pour. The first pour was fine, practically no bubbles. And here I'm just removing with the burner. This is the cavity where there's no sharks. There's a couple of rocks in there, and the decal, the WoodWave's logo. And this turned out fine. Practically no bubbles. But then we go over here to the sharks. The sharks from hell. And it's difficult to pick up how severe it is. There's a lot of micro bubbles, you can see them, but that's acceptable pretty much, because there would be bubbles in the ocean, so that's fine. But then we have bigger ones, and underneath this foggy area, it's because I've been taking some of the epoxy down, there is sort of a huge bubble in there, and I have no idea how that turned out, or turned up rather, because when I left this after having struggled with it for about an hour, it wasn't there. Thanks for tuning in to this third video in the Oceana build series, and I hope you'll tune in next time. And the next video is going to be about the finish and a little bit about some other stuff too, small bits and bobs. Yeah, I hope you'll tune in, and thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.